What's up guys, I'm going to do a little video for you today. It's the 10 things I love about my C5 Z06 Corvette. I've been trying to get this video out for weeks now and I finally found time to make it. So here are the 10 things I love about my C5 Corvette. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the cornering capabilities of the car. It weighs 3,150 pounds, which is medium to heavier for the sports car standard, comparing it to Miatas, S2000s, and some other little sports cars. But for the amount of power it has, the C5 Z06, as you know, has 405 horsepower from the factory, which is quite a lot for a car that weighs 3,100 pounds. And if you compare it to something like a Camaro, I know the new ones drop weight from 38 or 3,900 to 3,600, I believe. The new 2016 5.0 Mustang weighs 3,720 or 3,705. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's nearly 600 or 700 pounds heavier than this car, and those are considered sports cars nowadays. And I know those have different amenities like better stereo systems and navigation and Bluetooth audio, but still, this is a very light car, and part of that is due to the construction, and it uses fiberglass just about everywhere. So that's another thing that I love about this car. Alright, so the second thing I want to talk about is the straight line speed. This car is very quick. It doesn't weigh a whole lot, like I said, so it really moves out for the amount of power it has. And when you start to do small things like I have, which are headers and intake, these cars really start to wake up and move pretty quickly. Alright, so the third thing I want to talk about is the fact my exhaust is basically the best of both worlds. And I have the Borla Stinger catback exhaust system, and I also have Dynatec long tube headers. So I have high flow catalytic converters, and the Borla mufflers quiet the car down so that when I'm on the highway around 1900 to 2100 RPM at 70 to 85, the car is actually pretty quiet and there's not a whole lot of drone. Now cruising around city speeds and getting up to 40 or 50 miles an hour, there's a little bit of drone, but it's a huge comparison to the fact that when I'm on wide open throttle, this car is very loud. So your car can be very loud and it can be very quiet. It doesn't have to be crazy all the time, and it doesn't have to be super quiet all the time. And it's not one of those dual modes. It doesn't have a valve in it or whatnot. So this is an awesome exhaust system that I definitely recommend for your vehicle. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is the stereo system in the car. Now the stereo, some people don't like it, but I actually really do, because I'll put a video up on the screen. It has 6 presets, and I set my 6 favorite FM stations through there, and I just file through them one by one to find a song I like. And if not, I actually burnt a CD that has like 10 or 15 of my favorite songs. I actually gave a few to my friends, but it doesn't have an auxiliary cable, which is a downside, but the stereo system is more than excellent for this car. Most of the time I'm listening to that V8, but on the highway and long trips, it's honestly kind of nice to have that stereo, or just on a nice sunny day, it's nice to listen to some music. And another cool thing about the stereo is that the faster you go, or say your car starts to get really loud, or you have the windows down, you get on the highway, the stereo will actually increase its volume on its own, which is kind of a new feature. My other O2 Infinity, that's a quote-unquote luxury car, and that doesn't even have some of the features that this car does. Alright, so the fifth thing I want to talk about is the looks of this car. Obviously I bought this car partly because of the looks and partly because of the performance. And in my opinion, this car is better looking than a C6 base model Corvette. And I really love the C6 Z06 Corvette because of those wide fenders and the fact that you can fit 345 tires in the back on 19 by 12 or 13 inch crazy wide rims. But I like this body style over the C6 base model, just because the C6 base model, it always hurts when I know I could have had the C6 Z06 or the ZR1 or the Grand Sport with the wide fenders. And I love the curves and how smooth the C5 is. And some people complain about the pop-up headlights, but on all honesty, I don't mind it, because at night you don't really see it that much, and during the day it looks flawless. Alright, the sixth thing I want to talk about is the gas mileage on the highway. 6th gear is incredibly long, so that when you shift from 5th to 6th, the RPMs drop significantly, and this allows you to get 25 to 28 miles to the gallon on the highway at a reasonable speed like 75 to 80 miles an hour, which is amazing because it's a very efficient motor for what it is. The seventh thing I want to talk about is how the car automatically unlocks when you pull out the key when you turn off the car, which is super convenient because you can just pull the key out of the ignition, both doors unlock, and you can hop out. And this makes it super easy, and I love this feature. The 8th thing that I want to mention is the size of the trunk. The trunk is huge. You can easily fit 2 to 3 golf bags in the back of it. I never have a problem putting anything in the back. Granted, I don't put a bike in the back, but I've put my scooter and a few other people's backpacks in the car, and I've carried a few groceries home once. Never really had a problem with it. It has a ton of room, and mine is the Z06, and it has the fixed roof coupe basically, so it has a trunk instead of a hatch, and the hatch on the base model actually has a bigger trunk than this one, so I can't even imagine what you can fit into the back of one of those.